Hi guys, thanks for joining me again. If you're new to my channel, welcome. My name is Ann, and on my channel I review foreign international content. I like to say we are not scared of that 1-inch subtitle. We have overcome that and we are enjoying a lot of stuff, right? We have diversified what we watch. Nothing against Hollywood, but oh my God. I'm here to review Narco-Saints, which dropped this Friday, and it is fantastic. It's from South Korea, but this cast is so diverse. It is just fantastic. Jump on here and say you have to watch this one, right? Let's start off first of all with the cast before we discuss what Narco-Saints is. It has Ha Jagwo, who for me, it's a first. I have not seen him in a lot of Korean dramas, but maybe he does others. And then it has Jang Chen, who I'm assuming is Chinese. I have not seen his work, but I get the feeling he's also very popular. It has Park Hae-seo, who we know and love very well. If you watch Squid Game, then you know who he is. They also have Hwan Jung-min, who once again, right here, he is also new to me, but wow, what an electrifying actor. I was just like, whoa, he is so good. Also has Yo Yeon-seok, who we know, we've seen him in so many shows. He was in Mr. Sunshine, love him. And then it also has Jo Win-jin. He's also new to me, also excellent actor. And then it also has one of our favorite actresses that we're seeing in a lot of shows this year, Jo Jang-hyun. She was in the Green Mothers Club. She's currently in The Little Women. I mean, she's a fantastic actress, and then she's in this one as well. Just fantastic. Just say an all-cast show. We even have, we also have Hyun Bok-sik, and then we also had an American playing Brian Lutkin. Was also in this. So a really fantastic show with a really great cast. And first of all, this show is based on a true story. And I was like, wow, really? This happened to someone, okay? And really the show is about this guy. His name is Ingu Kang. And he obviously grows up, I think it was during the Vietnam War. We get the feeling his father had gone to Vietnam War, so he didn't get to see his father that much. When he comes back, he's hurt. And then not only that, he proceeds to work very hard because they were having, obviously, they were poor. And he sees how his parents just work to their bones and have nothing to show for it. And he's just like, that cannot be life. Like, all you do is work to the bones and then you die and have nothing to show for it. They end up dying prematurely young. And so now he's the eldest of his siblings and he has to take care of them. And as a young boy, he has to go get a job. And he's working at this karaoke bars, I believe. And he's trying to make money to take care of his siblings. And clearly he feels like, wow, this is too much on me. Like, you know what? I'm gonna need some help with taking care of my siblings, because he would come home and find it's a whole lot of mess. He's like, I need a wife. And I thought, by the way, that was the most unromantic way to ask a woman to marry you, right? He just got on the phone and was like, I'm gonna call every girl that I like and ask them if I could marry them. And he's calling and they're like, no, are you crazy? And then he calls Hae-jin, who is now his wife, who's being played by the character of Choi Ja-hyun. And she says yes, just like that. And I was like, I wanted to find out more, like, what was the story behind that, where she just accepted it just like that. It felt like she must have had a backstory and she was just like, yep, I'm gonna come and marry you. And really, in the beginning, it's a loving relationship. He's working. She takes care of his siblings. They end up having 2 kids. And they're having a nice life where he's running this karaoke bar and he's also a mechanic. And she was content. They were content and doing well until his friend Park Yoon-seo shows up and say, dude, I've been living in Suriname, and over there, you know how we like that fish skate, which, by the way, I did not know about skate. I eat a lot of fish, but this one I did not know. It looks like the stirring, right? And apparently in Suriname, they just didn't care much for it. And he was like, can you imagine if we exported that to Korea? We would make a lot of money. And Ingu is like, no, that's okay. I'm not interested. Like, why would I want to do that? He's like, really, we can make a lot of money. You should come over and we should check it out. And he tells his wife this plan, and she was like, why do you need to go and do that, right? Like, we are already content with our little house. At least we have food on the table. Like, why is this like, almost like, why is this not enough? And I believe Ingu was thinking about himself and his dad, and how he saw his dad, how his parents just worked to the bones and had nothing to show for it. And he's thinking, there's gotta be another way of making money when you just don't just run yourself to the ground. I believe that was his thinking, but it was also a good lesson on greed, right? When we're greedy, sometimes things can go wrong, right? Because I was just like, wow. At the end of the day, perspective was like, shouldn't I have been content? And you have to watch so you can understand what I'm talking about. So anyway, he takes up on his friend and they fly to Suriname. And in the beginning, it was good, but you find out that Suriname is a very corrupt country. The current president actually forged a coup and took over the country, just go shooting everybody and taking over. Then when they were in Suriname, his wife, Jean, kept on telling Ingu to go to church. And he's like, I really don't want to. And then finally, after she's nagged for so long, he goes to church, and he's only there. He wanted to be there for only a few minutes to take a picture so he can send it to his wife, and so that she can stop nagging about, are you going to church? You know, you should go to church. They go to church, get the picture. They're about to leave. And the Pastor John, is like, oh, I see we have new visitors. And then they introduce themselves. And then after church, he wants to have tea with them. And then obviously they're talking. He's like, what kind of business are you in? And they're like, we're trying to export, fish to Korea, because we found that in Korea, it's really marketable, right? And he's like, oh, very good. What a good business. And then he noticed that they had some bruises, because what happened is this country is so corrupt. They see these people making money and they're like, they want to cut. We've got the army coming for a cut. We've got this drug lord who is Shen, who sells meth, who is like, oh, I see you're making money. He also wants a cut. Let's just say they're really being harassed. And the pastor hears about it. He's like, who's the guy? Shen? Okay, so they go to see him, and almost the pastor saying, look, these two are with me. Stop bothering them, okay? And just by him saying that, it's like they stop bothering them. And then now Ingu and his friend are like, how is it that this pastor is, first of all, very wealthy, and second of all, has a lot of power? When he says stop, you stop. But in the meantime, all you see is the pastor just all nice, and he looks like meek and, very humble. But what we found out is this pastor, first of all, used to be a drug lord, and then got in trouble in Korea and decided, I need to run away from Korea because I'm getting in trouble all the time. Goes to Suriname, become a pastor. Nobody would ever think of it, because he also wants to still continue the drug business. And let's just say he owns a church where he's brainwashing everybody. Hallelujah. And he got them all high on his cocaine, and it is crazy. Hence why it's called Narco-Saints, meaning, I believe narco comes from narcotics, saints, him being the saint. Let's just say saints with quotation mark, because let's just say he is not what a pastor should do. And it goes to show how people can be so easily swayed, because once religion is put there, it's almost about, you don't question anything, you just believe. Hallelujah, right? And that's how he becomes this big guy. And let's just say he's also very good friends with the president of Suriname. So that's how he's able to get away with everything. And his drug of choice to export is cocaine. Shenzhen does meth. And there's this understanding of like, look, you stay in your lane with meth, I do cocaine, okay? And we don't interrupt. But in the middle of all that, I just loved how the series had like, it's like a melting pot. Obviously in Suriname, there was like black people. There was even some Nigerians there, which by the way, I thought it was shade. when the Americans, and you have to keep watching, I don't want to spoil, when the Americans come to help with the situation and they go, oh yeah, his bodyguards are Nigerians, the Americans are like clapping. I'm like, are you trying to say that all Nigerians are crooked people? They're not all crooked. That's a stereotype. I just thought that was strange how that was set up. Like, I don't know what the director was thinking. Like, almost like the Americans have been waiting to catch these Nigerians. What was that, right? The other thing I thought was the fashion. I'm like, is Versace the choice of fashion for drug lords? Because Shen, every other shirt was Versace. They were all wearing Versace. I was like, wow, interesting, right? Like, that's funny. But what a fantastic show. I don't want to say too much. You have to watch what happens to Ingu and his friend. They're trying to export this fish, and the drug lord that would be the pastor ends up putting some drugs in their shipment. And let's just say all hell breaks loose. I don't want to give too much because you need to watch this for yourself. And it really, the cast is fantastic, from the acting, the location. It is all very well done. By the way, I also thought it was very interesting that almost all the Korean actors, okay, this show offers dabbing, but you know what I always say, if you've been here before, you know what I always say. You should always watch with the language of origin. This is Korean. So when you're changing your subtitle, try and watch it in Korean. It is so much richer and better. Now, it does offer dabbing with English, and I have to say it's pretty good dabbing. It was very good. However, I have to say it was much better when I was listening to it in Korean, because what was interesting is that the Korean actors were also speaking in English. Like Yo Yeon-seok speaking in English, so you didn't need subtitle there. When obviously there'll be interactions between non-Korean people. We also had Park Hae-soo also speaking in English, especially when they're communicating with the other foreigners, the Americans, or the people from Suriname. So that was so much fun to watch. So yeah, do yourself a favor and add this one, because it was fantastic. It's gonna keep you on your toes from what happens once they leave Korea. They're in Suriname, the amount of corruption. Okay, by the way, violence. There's a lot of violence here. There was one scene, there's a body hanging on the streets because they want to teach them a lesson in Chinatown. Crazy, but really excellent show. And this crazy pastor, wow. Oh, you're not gonna say hallelujah the same way is all I'm gonna say. But it was a fantastic series, and I had to jump on here and like, you need to do yourself a favor and watch Narco-Saints. And the fact that it was based out of a true story, I was like, wow, this happened to someone. I was actually kind of hoping they would show us the face of the real person. I always love it when you do a story based on true story and then they're like, here he is, this is the person this story was based out of. And at the end of the day, by the way, at the ending, I was like, after all that, baseball? And I'm not going to say what that means. You watch it and you know what I mean by that. I'm like, baseball? That's it? I was like, he did a lot, because clearly the Korean government had something else to say, and you have to keep watching to know what I mean by that. But wow, fantastic show, fantastic cast. I hope we see shows more like this, where it's a melting pot of different cultures. I'm loving that Korea is like venturing out, like, let's bring other people in. That is so good, so fantastic. Do yourself a favor and watch Narco-Saints. It's on Netflix. They released all the 6 episodes, so you can binge watch. They're about maybe an hour each, but really, really good. Have you watched? What do you think? Wasn't it fantastic? Just fantastic. All the characters were fun to watch. They were all really good. Ingu, Pastor John, even David Park. I mean, obviously everybody. I felt like they did such a good job. It was very, very well done. An excellent production. So watch Narco-Saints. By the way, I'm reviewing Little Women. So if you're watching that, please join me. I'm doing that every week. And if you do like my video, give me a like, subscribe. It does help to support my channel. And I'll see you again next time. Do say.